Hello, hello. I'm back. It's Motivation Monday and it's time to get motivated. Today we're going to talk about goals, why you need them and how you should set them, and why you should have goals with your horse training. And once you get used to setting goals and following them through and hello, Michelle, and really getting on with them, you'll find you can do this in all areas of your life. So today I'm going to talk to you about We'll use examples with three different things, and three things that I've used in the past. And Michelle says, boy, do I need some motivation. Good. Well, that's what we're all about today. So we're going to talk about SMART goals. SMART goals give you structure and trackability with your goals, and they allow you to set milestones so things become less overwhelming. So the first thing really to think about is why you'd want to set a goal and why you'd want to write it down. And that's the most important thing. You know, we're all great, especially look, it's January. We're all great at setting goals for the new year. We say, oh, I'm going to take my horse to a show, or I'm going to win the dressage, or I'm going to lose 10 kilograms, or I'm going to get healthy, whatever it is. We've all got goals and we're great in January at setting those goals. We're not so good at following through, and there's lots of reasons for that. What they do find, and it has been found in studies, is that if you write your goals down, you're 80% more likely to achieve them. 80%, that's huge. It's huge. Why wouldn't you just write it down? It's that simple. Writing it down makes you 80% more likely to achieve your goal. So let's start with doing that. And then there's other things we can do as well. So when we talk about SMART goals, we talk about the S stands for specific. The M stands for measurable, the A for attainable, the R for relevant, and the T for timely. And I know we've all gone through this before. We all sort of basically know that, but common knowledge is not always common practice. So let's talk about it and let's see how relevant we can make it to our horse training. So let's start with the first one, specific. So I want to ride better is not a specific goal. I want to talk today about three different goals. So let's take a horse training goal that might be sort of common to all of you. Let's say you want to compete in a dressage competition. All right. Let's take an education goal. I set one a few years ago, which was to enroll in a PhD. And I'll tell you how far ahead I set that, and I'll tell you the steps that I had to take to get there. Another one might be to get healthy. And so let's do that. Perhaps that involves losing some weight, and that's certainly one that I personally started at a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of January this year. So for the S for SMART goals, the S is specific. So what we want to do is know exactly what it is that we want. So you need to be writing this down. Think about your goals that you're going to set for your horse training and whatever other ones you have as well. Do them all at once. So specific, you want to know exactly what it is you want. So let's say, be a better rider. Okay, that's not specific, is it? So perhaps you could make that compete in a dressage competition. But you could be more specific than that, couldn't you? You could say compete in a prelim dressage competition. So preliminary, that will mean that it's, a higher level than prep. So you need canter and things like that. So it's quite specific about what you want to be able to do. So where you're going to do that. So that would also, you need to say, okay, well, look in your diary and find a competition that is perhaps it depends on where you are now, where your starting level is, but perhaps in 6 months' time, and find a competition. And that's what you're aiming for. You're going to do a prep level dressage test at that competition. How you're going to get there, then you need to work out all the steps that are going to be involved with the how. So you need to sit down, look at your prep test and say, right, I need 20-meter canter circles. I need good canter transitions, good trot transitions. I need to be able to do a loose rein walk across diagonal, and all the different elements that are going to come into it. You write all those down. And then any conditions or limitations you might have on that goal. So anything that's going to be difficult, perhaps you don't have a float, or perhaps your horse doesn't trail a load. So all of these things are all going to come in. So let's have a quick look at a couple of the other goals and see how we can make those specific. So I had the one of enrolling in the PhD, and I wrote that goal down about 6 years ago, and I did it within 4.5, I think, of writing it down, maybe 5. But I was really specific. It wasn't any old PhD. I wanted to enroll in a PhD with a particular supervisor, Paul McGreevy, and at a particular university, and in training and welfare with horses. So it wasn't a vague goal. It was a really specific goal. So with the weight loss one, that's a really common one. And people often say, I just want to get healthy, or I just want to lose some weight. You know, I just want to lose the flab around my middle, or my clothes fit better, or something like that. So it's a really good idea to be much more specific about that. To say, okay, I want to lose, and we use the example of 10 kilograms. So 10 kilograms. Now let's give that a time as well. So let's say I want to lose the 10 kilograms in 6 months' time, or in 5 months. If you say 5 months' time, that's a really realistic sort of goal as well, isn't it? So the next one is measurable. So that's basically, you know, if you're really specific, your goal will be measurable. And those of you that know me know, you know, I love to measure everything. I measure everything. I'm terrible. But it's the only way you know you're making progress, right? So a measurable goal, it's easy with weight loss, isn't it? Because you can say, I want to lose 10 kilograms in 5 months. That's 2 kilograms a month. So at the end of February, you can turn around and say, have I lost my 2 kilograms? Yes or no? I'm on track. I'm not on track. You know, very easy. With the horse training, it's a little more difficult. But what we need to do is break that down into steps so that we can reach each month's goal in time. So if we're going to do the prelim test and we've decided that we need really good canter transitions, if we don't have left lead canter yet, we've got something to say, okay, well, by month 2, we need to have left lead canter. And by month 1, the horse needs to have left lead canter, not under saddle, perhaps on the long reins or something that can easily be broken down. So attainable is another thing. You know, are we being crazy? You know, I would love to be a country and western singer, but I can't sing. So having a goal of becoming, you know, the best country and western singer in the world is really not attainable because I can't hold a tune. So, but taking a horse to a prelim dressage test might well be. Also, you know, if my goal is to ride in the Olympics, probably not attainable. But the local show, definitely, yes. Okay, so be, you know, a little bit realistic there about the attainability of your goal. Relevance is another important thing that we often forget about or don't sort of take into consideration. We get these great ideas about doing things like, oh, climbing Everest, what great idea, but just not really relevant to my life or what I'm doing or anything else. So keep that at the forefront of your mind as well when you're thinking about your horse training. You know, how relevant is going to the dressage competition for you? You know, if you're a pleasure rider and you ride around the property and through the paddocks and things, really competing in a dressage competition isn't a relevant thing for you. So your goal might be more along the lines of having a great trail ride with your horse where it doesn't spook, doesn't shy at anything, or it stops and when it's asked to, or it side passes to the gate to open the gate. There are great goals that you can set. You don't have to have a competition as a goal, but it must be relevant. And the last one is timely. So we need, and we've talked all the way through this, about breaking it down into chunks. You know, don't set out there. And I hear this a lot with people, especially when they get a new horse or something and say, oh, I need to ride this horse bridleless and bareback in a dressage competition. Well, that's great. Yeah, good. I think that's a great aim. I think it's a great goal. But you need to break that goal down into chunks, into manageable chunks. You can't just sort of set out with, you can't sort of whip the bridle off in lesson 2 because it doesn't work like that, because the horse doesn't know enough. So any of you that know my training, you'll know the whole system works in steps, everything. Every lesson is steps, and every lesson builds on the previous lesson, which was a step. So it all goes step by step by step, and you build this really solid foundation. So no matter what your goal is, that's what you need to do. You need to take it step by step. So if we go back to the goal of riding your horse bridleless in the dressage competition, that's great, and it's really achievable, really, with any horse, I think, as long as you've done all the foundation work. So you've got a good solid foundation and you're building on that all the time to get then to your goal. Super. All right. Thank you very much for staying with me today. I would really like to hear what your goals are. If you're having any trouble breaking them down into steps, then just let me know and perhaps I can help you with it. Perhaps I can't, but I can certainly try. And I would love to hear what your goals are. So leave me a comment and tell me what they are. And I will see you tomorrow at Tuesday training. Bye.